Nancy Mace broke the internet earlier today when she posted seemingly out of nowhere that she was going to show off her naked body to Congress. Now, she wrote 2 posts about this, the second post possessing the worst optics I and many others have seen regarding a political event as such. But here is Nancy Mace in her own words of why she is choosing to do so.
Today in my hearing, I'm going to dissect what that guy did to dozens of women hidden on a hidden camera and other devices as he recorded them with impunity, without their knowledge, without their permission, and without their consent. Patrick Bryant, I hope you're ready. I'm also going to be sharing some of the imagery that Patrick Bryant, that guy right there, took of myself and other women without our knowledge, without our permission, and without our consent. Naked bodies, women's legs spread apart, different genital areas. And he had a catalog almost, I think, these different fetishes of what types of videos and photos he liked to capture of women without their knowledge. I'll go over that too. I'm also going to be going over some of the bills that I've worked on, particularly on voyeurism. The Sue Voyeurs Act and the Stop Voyeurs Act. Those bills were born out of the videos I saw of myself and many other women, because this is not about me. I'm fighting for their rights. We have 3 witnesses coming in today, and I hope that you'll tune in to hear my questions of the experts and see some of the evidence this guy did to women, to hurt them, to strip away their privacy. And he did it for years, and he saved those files of those women for years, one up to a decade. This man still roams free to film women without their knowledge, without their permission, without their consent. Nothing is stopping him from continuing to do that.
Quoting her original post, she writes, "Yes, I'm going there. Today I will show my naked body on one of the videos predator and rapist Patrick Bryant took of me and many other women." But what I would like to highlight here, outside of the actual post itself, is the fact that she was actually obliterated in the comments as people were rushing to call her out for being an attention-seeking female. Now, they use much worse words than that for the most part. However, the through line was there, as you have many comments from Kangman Lee writing, "Stop sexualizing me while I show you my naked body." Alex Rosen also writes, "Gotta get naked to own the pervs," with many others also writing in similar lines, with Aristophanes adding, "Get with the times. Most women use OnlyFans for this kind of content." And another one there from James Kirkpatrick, "Tonight's episode, the writers barely disguised fetish." As for the comments that she took the time to respond to, you have individuals writing, "Please save our eyes. We don't want to see that." She writes back, "Then don't watch. I'm here to hold the line for all of this perv's victims and draft bills that would protect future victims." This is a through line, as many other comments that she responds to carries this similar rhetoric, as she seemingly cannot move off of, just simply wanting to stop the pervs, doing very little to shield herself from the way that this social event played out in the public. The reason for this event taking place is because Nancy Mace is the chairwoman of the Subcommittee on Cybersecurity, Information Technology, and Government Innovation. Now, the hearing was titled "A Breach of Trust, Surveillance in Private Spaces," as the events that have taken place between Nancy Mace and Patrick Bryant line up similarly with the bills that she is pushing forward during this hearing. Now, to many's dismay, she didn't actually show a nude image, only technically, as it was blurred.
Freedom is not a theory. It is the right to breathe. It is the right to dress and undress, to sleep without someone's camera filming your naked body. The founders wrote liberty in parchment, but hidden cameras erase it in pixels.
There were really 3 reactions to what took place today from Nancy Mace. There were those who were angry, thinking that this was a ridiculous event to be happening. There were many of those who found it just hilarious and another addition to the ridiculous timeline that we are in currently. And then there were those who said, look, my viewpoint on women has been validated, with many pointing out the female nature and its incompatibility with being in politics. Many of those also thinking that Nancy Mace is the flagship individual that can promote their ideology, as she is seemingly stumbling all of the time. For some of the anger reactions, we have here from Blair White writing, "Why are we getting Nancy Mace's nudes before the Epstein files? I hate this timeline." We also have Malcolm Flex adding a little bit more of context, writing, "See Exhibit A as to why I decided to get the fuck out of politics. Stupid shit like this." And I will say I did not realize Malcolm Flex left politics, but again, I haven't seen him post much that explains it. But so on, he writes, "This is a security camera, Nancy Mace. This is about as innocuous as it gets. If you want to settle scores with your cheating ex, do so not on taxpayer dime. Yet her simps will defend." Highlighting once again on this image that you see there that it does appear to be classic CCTV security footage recording from the inside of the home, something that you would expect many who are probably in the middle class or higher probably possess in their homes as well. Matt Walsh also adds that all this ridiculous woman ever does is talk about herself and beg for attention. It amazes me that any conservatives are still falling for her bullshit. Now, I would say the majority of the reactions have just been making a heyday out of what we have been seeing with this, with memes coming out like crazy, and many of which were hilarious. You have the Mr. Krabs meme showing Nancy Mace at the House of Representatives, which is again a nude image of Mr. Krabs when he was going crazy in the reverse episode of SpongeBob when he switched places with Plankton. You have other images piggybacking off of the Nancy Mace is insufferable trope with "America, it's time to look at my tits." And you see the depressed Wojak saying, "Yes, Nancy." Other memes being much less wordy, but also getting the point across, showing a stripper on the House floor, as this is seemingly what people were expecting to see in the build-up to what we were going to get, which many people, to their dismay, did not get full-blown images of Nancy Mace being nude. Others, putting on their thinking caps, much like 9mm SMG, writes that Nancy Mace has to be a psyop orchestrated by big trans to make them seem normal in comparison, highlighting that Nancy Mace, once again, like many others, is such an over-the-top caricature of an insufferable woman that it almost has to be not real. And for honorable mentions, here are two clips that I also found to be extremely hilarious.
And then he posted a bunch of naked pics of me online, and that was the last straw.
Oh my God, that's disgusting.
I know.
Naked pics online? Where? Where did he post those?
I don't.
You're talking to me about stuff. Why? I'd rather see your titties. Now you're talking about other stuff. Why? I'd much rather see your titties.
Now, to tackle the third reaction group, which is those who said, "See, I told you so," in terms of female nature, you have Malcolm Flex writing again, "Nancy Mace is out here proving that women will really use any moment to show their naked bodies, exemplified largely with this photo down here in this meme, depicting how men take photos of objects versus how women take photos of objects, thusly prompting and showing that a woman will make herself the center of whatever that object or set event is." You also have others going so far as to say that as dumb as AOC is, Nancy Mace is still probably the most annoying attention whore in Congress, highlighting across the aisle and even among the own on the right wing, they find Nancy Mace to be more insufferable than AOC, which to many seems like a very tall task to reach, with Cassandra McDonald also adding rather simply that Nancy Mace has convinced her that women should not hold elected office. And in a similar light, you also have Ana Perez adding in too that the best part about this is that she thought that presenting her nudes to Congress, we would all react as if, wow, what a brave and beautiful queen. And to wrap up for the reactions here from many of these pundits, you have Harrison Smith catching the irony in what's being said versus the content being depicted, as he writes, wait, so Nancy Mace is showing her nude photos to explain how bad showing nude photos is? Like how she bragged about destroying men-only spaces while arguing for preserving women-only spaces? What are we doing here, Nancy? And many others in similar light saying, Nancy, please, I do not consent to you showing me your naked body. And at the end of it all, the real question is, who is this Patrick Bryant individual? Well, it turns out that Patrick Bryant is indeed her ex-fiancé. And Patrick Bryant issued a statement saying that he is denying all allegations with his statement on screen here. Now, for details, supposedly they had dated for 2 years before they were engaged in May of 2022. And there was a previous spicy instance, if you will, when Nancy Mace blurted out that she had only made it to the 13th annual South Carolina prayer breakfast because she declined premarital sex from Patrick Bryant. Which again, if you're going to a prayer breakfast with a Christian grouping, you would imagine that you would not be joking about something that they deem would be sinful. Following this, they were separated in November of 2023, according to Mace, because she caught Patrick Bryant on a dating app. Patrick Bryant denied these allegations of infidelity, claiming that it was a misunderstanding and that he had only downloaded the app to delete a profile. That I also find a bit suspect. I really don't know who to trust here, but again, at the tail end of the Me Too movement and someone who still has PTSD from Amber Heard, I am very, 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 very inclined to not believe women until I see evidence. In terms of the current investigation status, it is supposedly ongoing and it was opened in 2023, but as of today, no charges have been filed. Mace actually even criticized the Attorney General there in South Carolina, Alan Wilson, for delaying the investigation. She accused the office of treating women who come forward as if they are criminals. Now, funny enough, something I found of note here is that it is expected that Nancy Mace is going to be running against Alan Wilson in the governor race in 2026 for South Carolina. Now, to add to that, the Attorney General office also claims that Mace has actually never approached Alan Wilson with allegations, despite the fact that the two have attended several events together, and that Mace also has his personal phone number. Another crazy line in this story is the fact that when Mace is making these allegations on the House floor, they actually qualify quintessentially as legislative acts, which prevents those statements under the speech and debate clause, which, put simply, means that it prevents legislators from being sued for remarks and actions made during that time, which I would assume means also protects you from defamation. So in conclusion, I find this story to be, quite frankly, ridiculous and out of nowhere. But if you're asking me, if you have such a high-profile individual such as Nancy Mace, making a case as public as this one for multiple years now, she's made multiple remarks in multiple hearings now, and it has zero traction, there's no charges yet after how many years now, it makes me believe, much like we had from Malcolm Flex, that this is a lot closer to an ex trying to get revenge on a former partner in a very sick and legally protected way. Now, I'm not playing defense for Patrick Bryant. I'm just saying that Nancy Mace, to me at least, has not met the burden of evidence to make me have a reasonable belief or suspicion that there was foul play, especially because the evidence that was submitted and shown, as far as what I can tell, has made it to the internet, is largely what seems to be, again, security footage from inside the home. Now, I do understand most people have security footage for outside of the home, but I would not find it to be too alarming that someone would also want to record the inside of their house too, especially if they have many people coming over, and especially if it was two high-profile individuals such as Nancy Mace and her ex, Patrick Bryant. I would imagine there might have been a lot more people coming through that home than a normal household. At the end, my belief is that Nancy Mace is indeed the most insufferable female in all of politics. I would give her that nod over AOC. And I think if she continues, she is giving me and the dissident right the best arguments we ever needed to show people why women should not be involved in politics. She exemplifies the worst of the worst. She exemplifies, especially not in Christian spirit, for someone to be submissive, kind, and gentle. All in all, I think it turns out this might be a net positive for men who are trying to get women out of politics and to show them, hey, maybe this isn't your forte. But with that, I would also like to know, what are your thoughts on this? I know the story seemingly came out of nowhere, but especially for being like 2 or 3 years now down the line, she's made similar allegations. Seems like it's a whole bunch of hoopla. I'd still like to know what you think, and if you made it this far, definitely smash the like button. It helps my channel tremendously, and I'll be looking forward to seeing you guys in the comments. Take care.